All right, brothers. So first of all, I wanted to say shalom to all the brothers out there. And I hope you all are having a very good Sabbath. And brothers, I always found it very funny how a lot of our people, so-called black people, quote unquote African Americans, specifically here in America, love to talk about how allegedly they don't like to be portrayed as quote unquote ghetto or as quote unquote thugs or as quote unquote degenerates in the television or on the media or in the media, excuse me. But yet, when people like Tupac are mentioned, all of that goes out of the window when Tupac was this legend and revolutionary. And that's exactly why I'm making this video, because I'm going to show you brothers very quickly that Tupac was not a legend, nor was he some sort of icon. He was actually an actor and really a big pawn. All right, brothers. So currently we're going to start out before we slip into the next segment. I'm going to show you brothers the definition of the term portrayal. It says of an actor represent or play the part of someone on stage or on film or stage. And a lot of brothers are probably wondering why I'm showing you this definition, but it's going to make sense very quickly. All right, brothers. So we're currently on the first part of a little interview that Tupac did with the brother Ben Gordon. I believe this was in 1994, and I believe this was on a BET or one of those big networks. And Tupac is basically going to state that he actually likes to play the act of a quote-unquote thug, and he's going to agree in this clip that I'm using. And also he's going to state that he actually likes to blow up the thug altar or the thug character or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, to be honest, you like the portrayal of you just hard, thug. That's right. Don't step on me. That's right. You're in trouble. That's right. Yet there's another side to you too. What about that idea that you got to be able to figure out where you're going?
To me, it's like it is my sensitive side that that likes to blow up the hard side, because if my image or my reputation can stop a confrontation before it happens, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? I know how it is day to day.
And also, brothers, before I end this first little clip I want to use, I'm probably going to use about 2 or 3 more clips in this video, because this video has a lot of points I want to cover. But also, brothers, all these actors and all these rappers and all these people in Hollywood, all of them are actors, if not MK assets. But we're going to move on to the next clip. All right, brothers. So we're currently on the second clip of this little interview that Tupac sat down and did. And in this second clip, he's going to basically admit out and out that he is that he's getting, as he calls, pimped, or as I like to call, being a pawn.
Critics say, yeah, but you're being pimped. You're being pimped by the record executives who will allow you to do your thug life because it portrays a certain black. I mean, you've heard it, that if you were just a singer, you wouldn't have the same record contracts you have. Right. But because you portray the thug life, the gangster rap, they've allowed you to make that money. They've allowed you to push and make your platinum.
I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting pimped. That's true. But
all right, brothers. I'm gonna have Tupac say it one more time.
They've allowed you to make that money. They've allowed you to push and make your platinum.
I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting pimped. That's true. But
and also, brothers, let me say this. All these rappers who promote the gangster image or gangster or whatever you want to call it, the quote unquote hard image, all of them are getting pimped. All right, especially the quote unquote black men who get into the rap industry and promote the drug dealing life and the thug life. All of them are getting pimped. They're all getting pimped by the record labels, who usually 9 times out of 10 are owned by so-called Caucasian Jews. All right, brothers. So I'm currently going to use this as probably the last clip from this little interview, because I want to move on to different things. And Mr. Ed Gordon, the brother Ed Gordon, is going to bring up the fact that some little anecdotal stories about how quote unquote Tupac is a quote unquote nice guy. And Tupac is going to agree with him that the fact that his whole thug image is all hype.
Let me put this to you. A lot of people tell me Tupac is, for the most part, a nice guy. This old thug thing, hype. Good for record sales.
You see, brothers, he agrees with him. He started nodding his head. And, I always found it funny because I know certain brothers who actually do come from the street and things of that nature. And I always ask these brothers if these dudes really grew up around all the murder and violence and all the things that they allege they grew up around, then why would they be promoting it on the youth? And usually they always agree with me in saying that these rappers, again, are nothing but actors. And, brothers, let me say this. All these people in Hollywood are actors. And the reason why they do what they do, I'm talking about the rappers, is most of them are assets. And when I say assets, I don't just mean from just them being a pawn perspective, but also them being under the MK Ultra programming, which is something I'll probably get into once I revisit the series and add a part 2 into the Black Man Don't Worship These Celebrities series. All right, brothers. So we're currently on another interview, or not an interview, or a little quote-unquote announcement from Tupac. And I'm going to use this as sort of a background or a backdrop for me to expand on something which I highly associate with Tupac, and it's what I call being a prop leader. You see, brothers, it's not really about the quote-unquote votes. And to give context to this clip, basically, allegedly, Snoop Dogg's label Dog Pound had allegedly for every vote they were gonna, for every sale, it was gonna be allegedly a vote. And, brothers, I call Tupac a counterfeit leader, or excuse me, a prop leader, because all a prop leader is a so-called celebrity who tries to act like they're a leader of a specific community. Specifically here in the so-called black community, you have a lot of black celebrities and rappers and actors who try to act like leaders, but really they're just a prop for their backers. One of the better examples avoiding Tupac is LeBron James. LeBron James is a brother who, he's very intelligent, but he's a brother who's a big pawn, and who I'll probably have to cover in the Black Man Don't Worship These Celebrity videos, because this guy, this fool LeBron James, about back when Trump and Hillary were going at it to see who was going to be president, he was trying to endorse Hillary Clinton. And I found it so funny, and it was very easy that he was getting pawned out, because Hillary Clinton, because allegedly LeBron James is against racism, especially when it comes to white racism on so-called black people, or so-called white racism onto so-called black people. But yet he's endorsing someone like a Hillary Clinton, who is on record, you can look this up on YouTube, as saying that black males are super predators. Or I believe she said black people, or black males specifically, are super predators. And this all goes back to another sentiment that I want to get to, is that you brothers should not be worshiping these celebrities or looking up to them, especially the so-called black ones, because usually on average they're a prop, and usually they're doing it for some sort of financial gain, whether it means that if they don't get or endorse a certain company or a certain politician, they might be cut off from certain benefits of being at an elite level in Hollywood, or Hollywood, whatever you want to call it. Or they might just get completely blackballed like certain celebrities. All right, brothers. So we're currently on one of Tupac's, I probably think this is his last interview, because it's a smaller interview, but this was taken back in the summer of 1996. And as we all know, Tupac would later die back in September of the same year. And basically Tupac, in this little snippet of an interview with, I believe this was with Hollywood Access, he's going to explain why he has in his later years, or in his later life, has chosen acting over rapping.
Last interviews, he told us that he was tired of rap and that acting had become his new passion.
Rap, it's getting too political. I want to be somebody new, not somebody that's spoke about all the time and so part of the controversy that you can't even appreciate my new work. You know what I mean? He's too busy worrying about the controversy, and that's what it is now. It's just like controversy, selling records. It's not fun. But acting, I could be somebody else.
Well, no disrespect, brother, but you've been acting since you were predominant in the so-called rap world. But brothers, I hope you brothers are starting to finally make some connections as to who Tupac really was, because then we just see in the last clip, and by the way, that last clip, that wasn't 5, 6 years ago. That clip was like a like a year ago, where Tupac was sitting up there with the all white on, with what's his name, with Snoop Dogg's sodomite gay ass. And also, brothers, Tupac talks about not liking controversy, but wasn't that the same brother that was running around the streets of New York, spitting in cameramen's faces and throwing up the so-called middle finger? And by the way, brothers, speaking of the middle finger, I'm gonna have to touch on that. Maybe I'll touch on it in this video, or maybe I'll touch on it in the videos where I talk about the black man not worshiping, so the quote unquote black man not worshiping celebrities. But the middle finger is for Saturn. All right, and when you see a lot of these rappers in their music videos, when they throw up the middle finger and they put it in a cross, they're basically letting you know that not only are they a venerator of Saturn, but as well as Tammuz, because quiet is kept in the Christian church. That T-pose, that is not for the cross that Christ was on. That's actually for Tammuz. All right, brothers. So this might be the last video clip that I use for this video, depending on where I want to take it and what I find. But this is basically where the brother Marlon Wayans is basically going to dry snitch on his good friend Tupac, or former good friend Tupac. And for any of you brothers who don't know Marlon Wayans, I believe he actually acted in White Chicks. I believe he had a predominant role in White Chicks, and I think he actually had his own TV show a few years ago, but that's besides the point.
It was okay for him to be a performing arts high school kid when he was around me and Omar, because that's what we are too. And we all grew up in the hood, but Pops actually had to live that bishop, and me and O was just, that's not what we do. So
see, brothers, he had to get caught in that thug character. And also, brothers, for any of you brothers that haven't seen the movie Juice, I suggest it. It's a very good film. But that's besides the point. And brothers, let me say this. All of these people, including Tupac, are characters. And a lot of our people, so-called black people, they get so caught up with these people and their personas, and if they're a quote-unquote good guy and a bad guy. Brothers, Hollywood is a big stage. Everybody has a role, and eventually everybody has to exit the stage. That's why all of these major artists, they always end their life very tragically. People like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, which are people I'll probably touch on later. The reason these people died so early and died in such a vulgar way is because they had a role to play. And once their role was finally completed, they were not needed anymore. And a lot of people, they get so upset over Michael Jackson's death. And then, I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but they get so upset about Michael Jackson's death. Brothers, Michael Jackson was going to be cut off anyway. Because first of all, that tour he was doing was going to be his last tour. So they were either going to cut him off before the tour, in the middle of the tour, or after the tour. So it didn't matter. But, and also, to go off topic again, a lot of brothers, a lot of quote unquote black men, they always want to know something. But brothers, we have to have an understanding of something. And this is why I always encourage brothers to research certain things, specifically things like MK Ultra, because it'll let you know and have a deeper knowledge base and also understanding. And so you can pick out these celebrities, because once you have an understanding of things like that, it becomes very obvious to pick out people who are actors and people who are characters. Like Tupac just stands out to me just because of his very bombastful personality and how out and out he was with pushing the quote unquote thug angle. All right, brothers, but I'll probably get back to Tupac in a later video, and I might go in depth on some of his symbolism that he threw up with his hands. I don't know. We'll see. All right, brothers, so this is going to be the conclusion of the video, and also I wanted to address something real quick. I do know that I did miss last week's upload. I do apologize for that. I was trying to get a lot of the resources for this video together, and I initially had the video planned to go up last week, but the quality of the video, in my personal opinion, wasn't that great. And I do actually feel better about the video because it's of a lot higher quality, and a lot of the clips I was able to actually actually get my point across, and I was able to articulate to you brothers what I felt was necessary and significant. But brothers, as always, shalom to all you brothers out there, and I hope you have a very great Sabbath.